moments, think of Sri Ramakrishna and pray for the welfare of all the beings in the world. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been discussing the topic, one has to struggle very hard to achieve the goal. One mustn't hesitate to struggle. Sri Ramakrishna said, the only way to control the mind is through struggling. Lord Krishna has said in the Gita, by constant practice, it is possible to control the mind. So, we have dealt with this subject in the last 2-3 classes. Today I am concluding this topic, touching upon the most important point. It is true that we are constantly assailed by some sort of temptation. As long as the mind is drawn towards the things of the world, you can't really develop true love towards God. Because the mind occupies the things of the outside world, so your task should be to make the mind interested in God. So it depends upon how you conduct yourself whole day, how far you are able to keep your mind definitely on spiritual idea. That's very important step. It is possible to set the mind on a spiritual idea provided you set the ideal in your life. So it begins with that. Have you fixed your ideal in your life? Is your ideal in your life, is it to realize the truth? Is it to see God face to face? Is it to communicate with Him as you are communicating with people? That's the first point. Then everything follows step by step. So, I am speaking from the point of view of spiritual aspirants who have set the goal on the spiritual idea, whose struggle is to reach that goal, to realize the truth, to establish communication with the Divine Spirit, to talk to Him, to enjoy peace and bliss with Him. As long as you are having individual identity, as long as you see the multiplicity of beings, you must also admit there is Divine Spirit having the form. It is true, God is without form also. But it is also true, God takes form. Both are true. So, when you are seeing the ocean, you can't see the rivers. You see the ocean only. When you are seeing the rivers, you are seeing the multiple rivers. So many rivers. Suppose you are having an aerial view, so many rivers rushing towards the ocean. You can see that. Same way. So, it is real. God's form is real. God's incarnation is real. God takes forms to help the spiritual aspirants to come to Him. So, the point is, we have made the mind to go in such a way, it always wants to go out. It is running onwards. But now the task is, we have to stop the mind running. That's the struggle. Not only stopping the mind running, you must make the mind go in the direction in which you want to go. There comes the importance of struggle. So, take the facts as they are. Be bold enough to accept the reality. There's no point in simply hiding the facts and talking all sorts of flowery language. No. In spiritual matters, it must be very clear. Crystal clear. So, what is to be done? For some reason or other, mind has become habituated to run after the pleasures of the world. Because it is running constantly towards the pleasures of the world, you are constantly being involved in them. Because of your total involvement, you become restless. Definitely you lose peace. How can you expect peace when you are all the time engaged in some sort of things? So, now an awakening has come to you on account of your probably good samskaras in you, probably on account of bitter experiences in life. You have come to know the importance of going towards God, to find out really the experience of peace. But all through your lives you have led in one particular fashion. Now you are planning to change the whole pattern. That means it requires a lot of struggle. Why don't you accept that fact? Why do you want magic? Why do you want some yogi to come and touch your head and raise up your consciousness? Why do you want that way? It's rank foolishness to expect that way. You don't have any kind of personal joy in that. Somebody coming and pushing you up. If you push yourself up, there is some joy in that. That's the point. So, with this introduction, I am proceeding with the topic. Mind goes outward. It runs after one thing or other. What's to be done? It is simple. All the mystics have experienced the same turmoil. They say, from their experience they say, don't give your inner consent. First point. Temptations do come, let them come. Let million temptations come. They come, they won't ask your permission. They come. So, temptation is not sin. Then what is sin? It is consent that is sin. It is consent that is sin, not the temptation itself. Because these temptations exist in the God's world. The whole world belongs to God. Temptations are there. You are not responsible for that. There are so many crocodiles, sharks, and so many terrible aquatic animals in the ocean. You are not responsible for all the things what are there in the world already. But for your inner consent to them, you are responsible. So there lies your importance. You talk so much of your identity, I am so and so. He misspelled my name. He doesn't know how to utter my name. Like that you become restless, you become angry, you show so much of yourself. But you must now know the responsibility. But for your inner consent to the temptations, they won't come and attack you. So, you are responsible because you are allowing them, and then you involve yourself in those temptations, then you become responsible and you have to bear the consequences. Suppose you are jumping into the water, naturally it follows, the whole body becomes wet. You can't say, why my body became wet? Why did you go into the water? You could have stopped going into the water. You yourself went, and now what is the use of complaining? Oh, my clothes were wet. It's just like that. Temptations are there. Mind runs after them. Don't give consent to them. The struggling starts from here. Keep your body pure as possible, even though the mind may have become impure because of the impure thoughts of which you had no control. The mystics suggest, suppose you are in great difficulty, take your difficulties to your teacher, to your guru whom you have accepted as your spiritual guide. Lay bare your heart to him. Seek his counsel. Not simply hearing what he says and then go in your own way. Not that way. Do exactly what he wants you to do, in the manner he wants it to be done. That's the point. Don't play hide and seek with the teacher. That means you must have sincerity in yourself about your spiritual aspiration. Never discuss your inner struggles with any other person except your teacher, your spiritual guide. That's very important point. If you don't have a spiritual guide, then take your case directly to God. Tell him everything and cry to him for help. But that cry should be genuine cry. It should not be false or fake one. Be sincere in your repentance. God will certainly take you on his lap. Temptations to yield in small things to anger, suspicion, jealousy, envy, vanity, and so on, which constantly assail the minds, have to be handled very carefully. When small temptations are given great attention, if you give attention to them, they tend to become great temptations. The small temptations become great. You should quietly neutralize them by performing some actions contrary to these temptations. Every point is important. Every point you have to bear it clearly when you are struggling. Then struggling will have positive effect. The mystics tell us that when God prepares a soul for the reception of special grace, what does he do? He subjects the soul to most terrible temptations. Take anybody's life, temptations, they come and cross him. One has to overcome them. In the very terrible temptations which sometimes would appear to be almost insufferable, is hidden the grace of God. The mystics say that through inner struggles you become the recipient of the choicest blessings of God. In all kinds of inner struggle, we must never forget that the willpower plays a great part. Hence, all care should be taken to develop willpower. Lord Buddha says, by oneself evil is done. By oneself one suffers. By oneself evil is left undone. By oneself one is purified. Purity and impurity belong to oneself. The same thing has been said by Lord Krishna in the Gita. Uddhared atmanatmanam atmanam avasadayet. One should raise one's own self. One should never despair one's self. One's self is one's friend. At the same time, one's is one's enemy. It depends upon how you handle yourself. Here the self means mind, the little self, not the Atman. So no one can purify another. That means you yourself must make an effort. You want to become pure, you make an effort. You want to swim in the water, go and try. Learn swimming. If somebody else swims, that doesn't make you swim in the water. You have to exert yourself. If a man holds himself dear, let him watch himself carefully. The truth guards him who guards himself. A great deal of our inner struggle arises from evil thoughts which arise unforeseen and unwanted in our minds and which we do not know how to get rid of. The only way of facing this aspect of the struggle is to regularly check your thoughts and introduce good thoughts in the place of evil ones. That means you must have different action plan. See, these are all practical way of living this spirituality. Then only you'll be able to practice Vedanta. Telling and doing must go together. That's what Vedanta advocates. So, thought control is one of the important ways of regulating the inner struggle. Thought control. Thought is the root, shoot and fruit of inner life. So the most important strategy of inner struggle, however, is to get God involved in our inner struggle. How to do that? Once you do it, God carries on our battle for us, as it were. But how can we get God involved in our struggles? When we live our daily lives in divine expectancy, regularly practice our spiritual disciplines, surrender ourselves to God through our thought and work. By doing all these things, we may be sure that gradually God gets involved. God is aware of what we are doing because He is our inner witness. He is doing what are you doing whole day. How you are struggling. How far you are sincere in your struggle. God is directly seeing you all the time. And then you see how God becomes more concerned about you positively. And God is more loyal to the devotee than the devotee to the Lord, says the mystic. The success of our struggle then becomes God's personal business. Lord Christ has said, "Without me, ye can do nothing." St. John Gospel. It will immensely help us to remember that no matter what sins we may have committed, we are not those sins. Even when we are covered in mud, we are always different from the mud. The flint may be under water for ages, yet strike it against another flint, it will emit sparks. It's good to remember these facts when we fight our inner struggles, so as to keep our hearts from despairing. Remember, there never was a cloud that did not pass away. Likewise, one day these struggles will pass away and victory will be ours. There is nothing more certain than this in the whole universe. For how can the Atman ever be defeated? Atman is immortal. When through self-surrender we knowingly make ourselves the responsibility of God, He then fights our battle with His own hands. Strengthened with God's strength, we become invincible. That's what Lord Krishna has assured in the Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo moksheshyami mashuchaha. Lord Krishna has said in chapter 18, verse number 66, hear my supreme word. Set aside your righteous formalities. Set aside all your duties and all such things. Surrender yourself completely, totally. Surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sins. I shall deliver you from all sins. Don't grieve. This is the assurance by Lord Krishna. Let us take these words seriously. When the Lord is so anxious to take over the burden of our inner struggles, why carry it on our own and suffer? Why not let Him take it? It's only when Sri Ramakrishna took the responsibility of Girish Chandra Ghosh became highly relieved. Sri Ramakrishna took personal responsibility to cleanse Girish Chandra's heart thoroughly. And he took that responsibility. He told Girish Chandra Ghosh, you have given your power of attorney to me, you don't have to worry for anything else. All your worry is my worry. Don't worry about it. In our struggles, therefore, let us seek the help of the Lord who dwells within our heart and moves the whole universe. He is more loyal to us than we to Him. He is anxious to fight our battle. But from on our side, what should we have to do? We have our part to do. That is, we have just to submit our case to Him. That's the point. There's a famous letter of Brother Lawrence to a nun, a very fine letter, practice of the presence of God. From there it is taken. He writes, I don't pray that you may be delivered from your sufferings, but I ask God earnestly to give you strength and patience to bear them so long as He pleases to afflict you. He is writing this letter to a nun. Fortify yourself with Him, who fastens you to the cross. He will deliver you in His own time. Happy are those who suffer with Him. Accustom yourself to such pain and pray for strength to endure all He wills, and for so long as you may think fit. The world doesn't understand these truths, nor am I surprised. Worldly people suffer after their kind and not in a Christian way. They look on sickness as an affliction of nature, not as a gift of God. And for that reason, they find in it only the hardness and rigor of nature. But those who take upon sickness as coming from the hand of God, as an evidence of His solicitude, as a means which He chooses for their salvation, commonly find great happiness and solace in it. I wish you could realize that God is often nearer to us in time of ill health and weakness than we are well. Seek no other physician but Him, for to my mind He wishes to hear us Himself. Put your whole trust in Him, and you will soon benefit. We often delay recovery by trusting to medicine rather than to Him. Whatever remedies you may make use of, they will only succeed so far as He allows. When pain comes from God, He only can cure it, and He often sends disorders of the body to cure those of the soul. Comfort yourself with the all-powerful physician of both souls and bodies. That's why God is called Bhavaroga Vaidya. He is a doctor of the worldly disease. So, how it is very important to pay our attention to this aspect of struggle. Swami Premananda, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, said, waste no more time. Struggle every moment to reach the goal and move onward and upward. People keep an account of their dollars and cents, but how many keep account of the valuable hours and moments they waste? You will have to analyze yourself. Find out the obstacles and then struggle without compromise to remove them. These are all wonderful teachings of these mystics. Another direct disciple, Swami Chidananda, says, you must struggle sincerely. Does one find circumstances always propitious? Consider what you have got it to do as your duty and go on. Are you not undecaying and immortal always? So why should you go about seeking favorable circumstances? It is you who have projected all this. People say, again, Swami says, what he wishes will come to pass. Well, will the wish arise in him without any struggle on your part? Only when the wings are tired does a bird sit on the mast of a ship for rest. Only when you have struggled your utmost will real resignation come. Another direct disciple, Swami Ramakrishna, he says about struggle, you say that samsara is a place of great temptation. That's indeed true. But do you know that strong adverse winds serve but to confirm the roots of a weak tree. The good moral principles which are now not so strong in you are sure to get firmly rooted by an incessant struggle with temptations. Constant exercise and struggle improve one's physical health, and our mental health too is not above this law. Of course, the ground is too slippery to allow man to walk on without a fall. But he is sure to pass over this slope if he pushes on boldly without caring much for any fall in his onward march. He should always look forward and march on boldly, falling and rising, but never succumbing, till he is sure of having reached a place where the ground is clear of dirt and where he meets the one thing of his desire. That for whom he has been laboring so long, the divine, to get into the divine abode. Don't care if you slip occasionally. To err is human. Do not lose heart. Walk firmly onward. No man can hope to get through the slimy path of the world unscathed. And it is rank foolishness to sit down in the midst of the mire for fear of falling in the attempt to get across. Don't forget the golden precept. Try, try, try again. Remember Bruce of Scotland. Swami Ramakrishna says, who, though defeated 6 times, conquered at last the 7th time. Again the Swami says in one of his talks, science is a struggle of man in the outer world. Religion is a struggle of man in the inner world. Science makes man struggle for truth in the outside universe, and religion makes him struggle for truth in the inside universe. Both struggles are great, no doubt, but one ends in success and the other ends in failure. That's the difference. Swami Chidananda says, another disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, despondency is the greatest obstacle in spiritual life. It saps energy and destroys our ability to struggle. So never give room to despair. Finally, I conclude this topic by what Swami Brahmanandaji has said about the importance of struggle. He says, have faith and dive deep into the fathomless ocean, and you are sure to find the eternal treasure, the pearl beyond price. Do not lose heart if after a little struggle you fail to find it. The ocean is full of precious pearls, but you may not find them at the first dive. So much has been said about struggle. Now, what next step? Keep going struggling. That's the thing we should do. The more you struggle, the more you come near God. Struggling is the way of life. Struggling for purification, struggling to reach the goal. That's what Sri Ramakrishna has said. Constantly struggle. Page 554, chapter 28. Listening to the music, the master went into samadhi, the curtain fell and the orchestra played on. A new scene. Shivas and other devotees are engaged in conversation in front of Advaita's house. Mukunda sings. Sleep no more. How long will you lie in Maya's slumber locked, O mind? Who are you? Why have you been born? Forgotten is your own true self. O mind, unclose your eyes at last and wake yourself from evil dreams. A fool you are to bind yourself so to the passing shows of life. When in you lives eternal bliss, come out of the gloom, O foolish mind, come out and hail the rising sun. Sri Ramakrishna praised the voice of the singer highly. Another scene, Nimai is staying at home, Shiva comes to visit him. First he meets Shachi. The mother weeps and says, My son doesn't attend to his household duties. My eldest son Vishwarupa has renounced the world, and my heart has ached ever since. Now I fear that Nimai will follow in his steps. Nimai arrives. Shachi says to Shivas, Look at him. Tears run down his cheeks and breast. Tell me how I can free him from these notions. At the sight of Shivas, Nimai clings to his feet and says with eyes full of tears, Ah me, revered sir, I have not yet attained devotion to Krishna. Futile is this wretched life. Tell me, sir, where is Krishna? Where shall I find Krishna? Give me the dust of your feet with your blessing, that I may realize the blue one with the garland of wild flowers hanging about his neck. Sri Ramakrishna looked at him. He was eager to say something, but he couldn't. His voice was choked with emotion. The tears ran down his cheeks. With unmoving eyes, he watched Nimai clinging to Shiva's feet and saying, Sir, I have not yet attained devotion to Krishna. Nimai has opened a school, but he can't teach his students any longer. Ganga Das, his former teacher, comes to persuade him to direct his attention to his worldly duties. He says to Shivas, Listen, Shivas, we are Brahmins too and devoted to the worship of Vishnu. But you people are ruining Nimai's worldly prospects. Master said to him, That's the advice of the worldly wise. Do this as well as that. When the worldly man teaches spirituality, he always advises a compromise between the world and God. Yam said, Yes, sir, that is true. Gangadas continues his argument with Nimai. He says, Nimai, undoubtedly you are versed in the scriptures. Reason with me. Explain to me if any other duty is superior to worldly duties. You are a householder. Why disregard the duties of a householder and follow others' duties? Master said to him, Did you notice? He is trying to persuade Nimai to make a compromise. Yam answered, Yes, sir. Nimai says to Gangadas, I am not willfully indifferent to householders' duties. On the contrary, it is my desire to hold to all sides. But, Reverend Sir, I don't know what it is that draws me on. I don't know what to do. I want to cling to the shore, but I cannot. My soul wanders away. I am helpless. My soul constantly wants to plunge headlong into the boundless ocean. Master said, Ah me. The scene changes. Nityananda has arrived at Navadvip. After such he meets Nimai, who in turn has been seeking him. When they meet, Nimai says to him, Blessed is my life, fulfilled is my dream. You visited me in a dream and then disappeared. The master said in a voice choked with emotion. Nimai said he had seen him in a dream. Nimai is in an ecstatic mood and becomes engaged in conversation with Advaita, Shivas, Haridas and other devotees. Nitai sings a song suited to Nimai's mood. Where is Krishna? Where is my Krishna? He is not in the grove, dear friends. Give me Krishna. Bring me my Krishna. Radha's heart knows not but him. At this song, Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi. He remained in that state a long time. The orchestra played on. Gradually his mind came down to the relative plane. In the meantime, a young man of Kharda, born in the holy family of Nityananda, had entered the box. He was standing behind the master's chair. Sri Ramakrishna was filled with delight at the sight of him. He held his hand and talked to him affectionately. Every now and then he said, "Please sit down here. Your very presence awakens my spiritual feeling." He played tenderly with the young man's hands and lovingly stroked his face. After he had left, Sri Ramakrishna said to him, "He has good traits. A little shaking will awaken his inner spirit. At the sight of him, my spiritual mood is aroused. I should have been overwhelmed with ecstasy if he had stayed here a little longer." We shall stop here. So, the way to spirituality is through struggles. That is the theme of today. The way to spirituality is through struggles. What, Sam? Mike is there? No. Yeah, struggle for the good. See, everybody is struggling. There is no one in this world who is not struggling. But there are struggles and struggles. People struggle for nothing. That's true. I'm telling in a general way. So, struggles are there. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, as long as you have got lot of other aspirations in your mind, wait for some more time. Finish all those aspirations which you are hunting after them. Finish your hunting, and the hunting is over, then you come. But one will come to know, if he is interested in hunting, he goes on hunting till he is exhausted. So, no, exhaustion will come. Though you feel that way, because at the moment you are young, you are quite spirited, you have got that strong, desire to do certain things. So that keeps you think that way. But time will come when you think in the other way also. I have lived all this life, what for? Just to gain bread and butter? Just to make property? What else did I get? When you leave the body, you can't take your hair. What is the use of your making all these properties, hoarding the money, torturing the people, insulting, hurting, all sorts of things? What do you gain? Nothing. So whatever you do, you are only adding up to your samskaras. You are formatting yourself in every life. Whatever way you are living your life. If you are living a fast life in this world, all that will not go without effect on your mind. Every action you do, every thought you think will have its reaction in your mind, will have its impression in the mind, will leave its effect on the mind. That is called samskara. They become strong. They become so strong, they overpower you. That means they will have reflex action. You don't want them to act, but they act upon, because you have ordered them to go in that way. So they are just obeying your previous orders. After a certain stage, you can't undo what you have already done. That means you have to bear with, you have to take future steps to prevent repeating those things again. At some point of time, you have to give direction to your struggle. Am I struggling in the right direction or the wrong? Am I associating with good people or the wrong? What is where I am going? These are all philosophical questions which everyone will have to face one time or other. But anyway, it depends upon what type of peace you want. If you are able to have little peace by getting $500 a month, wonderful, you have it. But then again, it differs from person to person. What you want, that you get. That's the beauty of God. God has filled this universe with everything. Whatever you want, you get. If you want God, you will get God. And that's the way of telling. But to get anything, you have to struggle. Without struggling, you won't get anything. That's all. Let us stop. Now, what you are doing is all right. The more you do, it's better for you. See, whenever you repeat God's name, always remember, it purifies your heart and it takes you towards the God. So it's a tested truth. But when you are repeating God's name, repeat it with heart and soul. When you are engaged in work, though you are repeating the name, part of the mind is engaged in work also. But when you are free, when you are alone, when you are inside the shrine, then you are with yourself, then devote the whole time in repeating the mantra. It will have immense effect upon you. It will give you peace of mind. It gives you everything that is required for your upliftment. Yeah, very good, thank you. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quenched that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drown deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for Thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is Thy servant, O Sweet One. In Thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath Thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant separation from Thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with its desire, and the world without Thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at Thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of Thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of Thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O Thou who stillest the hearts of Thy devotees, do with me what Thou wilt, for Thou art my heart's beloved, Thou and Thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bonds. May the freed make others free. May good betide all people. May the sovereign righteously rule the earth. May all beings ever attain what is good. May the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be freed from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.